welcome back to Movie Review Mom. Thanks for spending a few minutes as we talk about movies. Today, the movie I'm reviewing is called Seberg. It's rated R, it's 1 hour and 42 minutes, and the Movie Review Mom grade I'm giving it is a C+, and I'll tell you why. But first, I'll give you a quick nutshell overview, some tips for parents, and then I'll point out some things I liked and didn't like. So, in a quick nutshell, this is an Amazon Studios movie that's inspired by true events during the life of Jean Dorothy Seberg, who was a popular American actress in the 1960s. Australian director Benedict Andrews shows how she became targeted by the FBI in an investigation because of her connection to the Black Panthers. Now, normally, I used to never review movies that showed up on Netflix or Amazon because they weren't big theater releases. However, these movies are now showing up at award ceremonies for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress. They are definitely worth mentioning here on Movie Review Mom. So that's why I'm doing this particular movie review. Now, some quick tips for parents. First of all, kids will be extremely bored and probably shouldn't watch this movie anyway because there's language, profanity, including many F-bombs. And there's a scene that's dark, but you see a biracial couple in bed and you hear noises, so you know what they're doing. There are several scenes that reference a movie that Jean Seberg made about Joan of Arc, particularly where she's being burned at the stake. And there's reference to her actually being burned when she made that movie, as well as you see her as Joan of Arc being burned. So that's disturbing. But more importantly, you see a topless woman. It's Kristen Stewart. And I was kind of surprised. I know we all think of her as the Twilight actress, although she's done many, many movies since then. And in fact, recently she's pumped out 2 movies, Underwater and Charlie's Angels. And she's often showing lots of skin, but in this case, she opens up like a bathrobe and there she is. I mean, top up. So your kids don't want to see that. Well, maybe they do, but they shouldn't see that. There's also an obscene picture that kids shouldn't see. There are some terrible examples of parenting. There's talk of infidelity as well. Now, some themes in the movie worth talking about are truth versus rumors versus just flat out lies, civil rights, and while the Black Panther, the civil rights movement is the background of the movie, there's not a whole lot of demonstrations or that kind of stuff that's shown in the movie. So if you don't know who the Black Panthers were and what they were all about, you'll need to learn a little bit. You don't learn that much about the actual Black Panthers. There's the theme of FBI overreach, which is also another theme in the most recent movie, Richard Jewell. And while we'd like to think that they learned their lesson from this particular moment in time of history, obviously with Richard Jewell's story, we know that that's not the case, sadly. Making a difference is a huge theme because everybody wants to make a difference in the world. She didn't want to just be a movie star. She wanted to make a difference. And when she was introduced to the Black Panther movement, the civil rights cause, she wanted to do something more meaningful with her life. And that's how she got involved with that. And then, of course, this man that she gets involved with, in the movie at least, he wants to make a difference. They both want to make a change in the world and in society in the 1960s, where equal rights was a huge issue. Obviously, civil rights was an issue, voting rights, all of that. And people wanted to know, how do we change the status quo? So that's a really interesting part of the movie, really the whole part of the movie. There's one line by Anthony Mackie, who plays Hakeem Jamal, who's this Black Panther guy, and he says, if you can change one mind, you can change the world. And that is the theme of the movie, in fact, whether it's through the Black Panther movement and the civil rights movement, or through the FBI as they use maneuvers to change the public mind against Jean. Super interesting topic. Jean Seberg, played by Kristen Stewart, says, "When you're in love, you're colorblind." And another line she says is, "The real threat is the lie we tell that everyone has a fair shake in America." And again, two other themes are the power of fame and money and activism. Now, some things that I really liked are, first of all, I do like Kristen Stewart a lot. I thought she did a very good job in this movie and looked beautiful. She's just intriguing to watch and even speaks French in the movie, which I was super impressed with because it sounded good to me. I used to do Duolingo and tried to learn French, and I got 11% fluent. I'm terrible, but anyway, I loved her cute blonde pixie haircut and her outfits. Now, some critics have said she's horrible and the outfits are horrible. And I thought, I actually enjoyed both of those elements of the movie. She shaved her hair even more for a shorter blonde pixie in the movie Underwater. And you can watch my movie review of Underwater or read it on moviereviewmom.com. Now, actress Jodie Foster was actually going to play this role of Jean many, many years ago, but the film never happened. And I just thought that that was interesting. She would have done a really good job as well, of course. But I thought Kristen Stewart actually kind of looked like Jean. Kristen Stewart has been very busy, as I mentioned, pumping out these movies. And I think she's doing a really good job. And in each of these three movies that she's just been in, I feel like she's giving it her all, whereas some of the other actors in the movie, not so much. So I like her and I like where her career is headed, that she's willing to try lots of different types of roles. And so I think that's great. Watching her act in these final clips during the rolling credits, I thought was really, really good and very powerful. Anthony Mackie is so handsome, first of all. He's in the movie. He does a really good job as Hakeem Jamal. And I would have liked to explore more of what his motivations were for being involved in the Black Panther. You don't really get to learn that much about him other than he falls in love with Jean. And honestly, there's some criticism about the fact that that may never have actually happened. There's no solid evidence that they were in a romantic relationship in real life, but for the cause of the movie, they definitely have them involved romantically, and it very well could have been. I've just read reports both ways. I also liked Jack O'Connell as Agent Jack Solomon and Vince Vaughn. Other highlights are Zazie Beetz and Stephen Root. Now, you see old TV clips from the volatile 1960s, just a few, but enough to kind of give you that background flavor of what was happening at the time. And one of the clips at the very beginning of the movie features Black Panther leader Eldridge Cleaver. I met him many, many years ago when I was a teenager, back when he was trying to clean up his life, and he actually became a Christian. It created quite a stir in my congregation, as you can imagine. And unfortunately, his demons got the best of him, and he was just plagued with drug problems that he just couldn't shake. And a movie about his life, I think, would actually be very interesting. Of course, he's a very controversial leader in history, and I think it would be interesting to watch his life unfold on the big screen. Now, some things I didn't like are very few viewers will have ever actually seen any of Jean Seberg's movies or remember the details about the true events. I had never heard of her. I had never heard of this story. I was just a baby when all of this was happening. It made me wonder really what the truth was surrounding the events. And after watching the film, I searched online to learn even more and found even more details that were not accurate. It made me wonder also, why is it that they didn't just tell the truth in the movie, the facts as we know them, rather than changing things that happened? And I know that happens a lot in movies, and viewers get frustrated. Just tell us what happened. Of course, it has to be an intriguing movie with drama and character development and all of that kind of stuff. But anyway, the characters in this movie actually are fairly one-dimensional, which is a very missed opportunity, in my opinion. It was interesting when Jean said they made this happen, not accepting her own part in the events that unfolded, as if it were completely the fault of the media, what happened or how the events unfolded. Obviously, it all started with her. The movie feels kind of long, kind of boring, kind of slow. And again, many missed opportunities where it could have been so much more. The script is fairly flat, missing that spark that the time period definitely deserves. So a lot of people are saying, while Kristen Stewart was great, the movie not so much. So that's basically why I gave it a C plus. Now, if you're interested in this topic of FBI manipulation and manipulation as it includes the media and the press, then I highly recommend you see Richard Jewell. It's even in still some movie theaters. If not, it'll be out on streaming pretty soon. All right, that's my review for now. Be sure and subscribe. Click that little bell and that will notify you every time I upload a new video. Visit my Facebook group called Movie Review Mom, of course, as well as my moviereviewmom.com website, where I include lots of funny lines, interesting lines, and a contest where you can win some prizes. I'll see you in the next movie review. Bye for now.